chilling case I'm about to tell you today took place in Jiayi County, located in the southwestern part of Taiwan. It all started on Friday, March 15, 2013, during spring, with constant rain falling day and night. That afternoon, the Shuishang Township Police Station in Jiayi County received a request for investigative assistance from the Datong Police Station in Sanyuan District, New Taipei City. They asked the Shuishang police to search for the victim's body in public restrooms within the area. It turns out that earlier that morning, Datong police received an anonymous letter from the city of Taoyuan. The letter had no signature, and the font was unusually small. What stood out the most was that each letter seemed to be written multiple times, as if someone was trying to obscure their handwriting. At first, they thought it might be a cruel prank, but when a curious officer opened the letter, the contents sent a shiver down his spine. The letter read, "There is a dead body in a public restroom 200 meters from the temple. Please bury it properly. I have no money for funeral expenses. Thank you." Although the authenticity of the letter couldn't be verified, the police didn't dare take it lightly, given that it involved a human life. They immediately sent an investigation request to the Shuishang Police Station in Jiayi County. Upon receiving the notification, Shuishang police held an emergency meeting to plan their search. Officers were sent to check public restrooms in the area, while maintaining close communication with the Sanyuan police to exchange information and ensure the case was resolved as quickly as possible. As night fell, the atmosphere in Shuishang Township grew tense and eerie. After 3 hours of exhausting searching, the police finally found a clue. An officer was searching near the Shuishang Temple in the center of town. The temple, which dates back to the Ming Dynasty, has undergone several renovations and is a popular spot for locals to pray. As she entered a nearby public restroom, she noticed something unusual. A plastic bag was resting on the lid of a toilet tank. She immediately realized that this was no ordinary discovery and called for other officers to come assist. According to the description in the letter, this could be the location where the body was dumped. However, the plastic bag was only about the size of a basketball and didn't seem big enough to contain a whole body. Initially, they speculated that it might be the body of a baby. As they carefully opened the bag, they discovered another plastic bag inside, the kind typically used in supermarkets. Upon peeling back 2 layers, a foul stench hit their faces. Inside, they found several more layers, including a woven bag, a jacket, a t-shirt, shorts, and women's underwear. 7 layers in total. When the final layer was removed, a head was revealed. The sight left everyone who witnessed it horrified. A young, newly recruited officer couldn't hold back and vomited right there on the spot. Based on the size of the head, it was clear that it belonged to an adult. The surface of the head was covered with a thick layer of salt and smelled like cured meat. Inside the jacket, officers found a piece of paper with the words San Yuan Chen Wan Ting written in large, repeated handwriting, matching the style of the anonymous letter Datong police had received earlier. The results of the forensic examination revealed that the victim was a female between the ages of 25 and 35, with a very clean, straight cut to the head. Based on the method of the crime, it seemed that the perpetrator had significant experience with cutting meat, as such a straight cut would be difficult to achieve with soft or frozen meat. It is possible that the head was in a semi-frozen state and was cut with a sharp blade. To determine the exact type of blade used, the body would need to be found for comparison and identification. The head had been treated with a pickling process, causing the skin to shrivel and lose moisture, giving it a shriveled appearance. Professor Yao Lan from Taiwan's National Police University pointed out that the level of decomposition is often used to estimate the time of death. If the head had been frozen and pickled, it would make determining the time of death much more difficult. The case also attracted the attention of forensic expert Henry Lee, who suggested that the application of salt to the body could prevent decomposition, stop the growth of fly larvae, and reduce the foul odor. The plastic bag containing the head was an important piece of evidence, as the police could focus on analyzing fingerprints and DNA on the bag, the anonymous letter, and also consider the psychological profile of the suspect. This could help link the clues together. At the same time, the police worked to trace the origin of the anonymous letter. Although the letter had been sent from Taoyuan City, the stamp on the envelope was from New Taipei City, clearly indicating that the return address was a fake. This made it difficult for the police to follow up on this lead. Therefore, the police shifted their attention to the name mentioned in the letter and the note found inside the plastic bag containing the head, Chen Ting. After checking missing persons records, the police discovered that there were 64 people named Chen Ting. Fortunately, the note in the bag mentioned San Yuan, so the police narrowed the search down to the San Yuan district in New Taipei City. After screening and verifying the information, they quickly identified a missing person who matched the victim's age. The police contacted the family of the missing woman. Later, a mother and her eldest son arrived to identify the body. Although the victim's face had shriveled and was difficult to recognize, the mother identified her daughter by the missing upper teeth. She also noticed the head covering outfit, which was the same one she had purchased for her daughter. The mother could not accept the tragic death of her daughter, and she cried uncontrollably at the scene. Through DNA comparison, the police confirmed that the victim's name was Chen Ting, 34 years old. The victim's mother was named Chen Mu, and she had 5 children. The eldest daughter ran a busy fruit business in Keelung City, so her mother, along with her eldest and youngest sons, had traveled to Keelung to assist. The house in rural San Yuan was home to her second son, Chen Jiafu, and her youngest daughter, Ting. Due to Ting's mental health issues, her mother would visit her regularly. However, in December 2012, after a visit with her daughter, Ting's second son informed her that his sister had gone missing. After an unsuccessful search, the family reported her disappearance to the police, but she was still missing. 3 months later, the mother received news about her daughter, but what she had hoped would be good news turned out to be tragic. The victim, Ting, whose real name was Chen Shuhui, was born in 1978 in New Taipei City. She was 34 years old at the time of her disappearance. From a young age, she was known for her striking beauty and delicate features, with long hair that resembled a doll's. At school, she was often referred to as the campus beauty, and many people admired her. Some, even from the entertainment industry, approached her, hoping to turn her into a star. However, when Ting was 15 years old and in junior high school, she began associating with a bad crowd. Under their influence, she began to neglect her studies, skipping school to hang out at bars, smoke, drink, and eventually experiment with drugs. At the age of 18, she had an unintended pregnancy. Her family pressured her to abort, but she insisted on marrying the father of the child, despite intense opposition from her family. 9 months later, she gave birth to a baby girl. After getting married, she moved with her husband and daughter to Taoyuan City. However, not long after, her husband enlisted in the military and had an affair during his service. The couple eventually divorced, ending their 4-year marriage. At 22, Ting moved back to her family home in San Yuan to live with her second brother, Jiafu. The end of her marriage was a major blow to her mental health and marked a turning point in her life. Ting fell into depression and even contemplated suicide. Though she survived, she suffered from mental health issues thereafter. Neighbors often saw her wearing heavy makeup and wandering around outside in her pajamas. Due to this incident, her mother decided to change her daughter's name from Shu Hui to Ting, hoping the new name would help her turn her life around. However, most of the neighbors did not know about the name change and continued to call her Shu Hui. Investigations revealed that Ting had a history of drug use, though it was unclear whether she had stopped. Police confirmed that she had a strong smoking habit. Despite her mother and second brother frequently giving her money, it was still not enough to support her high-spending habits. To make ends meet, Ting resorted to selling her body to various men, including gangsters, taxi drivers, and others. She even set a clear price, 500 new Taiwan dollars, about $15 for sex, and 50 to 100 new Taiwan dollars for fondling. Later, Ting began bringing a different man home every day, which frustrated her mother and second brother, but they were powerless to stop her. Following these leads, the police speculated that Ting may have had a conflict with someone during one of her encounters and was subsequently killed. Semen from an unknown man was found on a pair of panties that had been wrapped around her head. The police then began screening men who had previously been involved with her. A taxi driver was later identified, but the investigation results were disappointing. Although the DNA on the panties matched his, he had no clear motive for the crime, and there was no substantial evidence linking him to the murder. The police concluded that Ting had changed her name several years ago, a fact that many people did not know. However, the person who sent the letter to the police station seemed to know her new name, suggesting they were familiar with the victim. After interviewing several of her neighbors, some key clues caught the police's attention. One neighbor revealed that Ting had once said her brother, Jia Fu, had sexually assaulted her, but due to her mental health issues, no one believed her claims. One of Ting's downstairs neighbors shared the following. Back in March, the sewage system in my house suddenly began to emit a horrible, rancid odor, along with chunks of meat and grease. The smell was unbearable. I went to Jia Fu, who is usually difficult to get along with, but for some reason, he became unusually talkative and even offered to help clear the drain. This felt very strange to me, but in the end, I cleaned it myself. Police investigations revealed that Jia Fu had purchased life insurance for his sister Ting from several insurance companies starting in 2011, with a total coverage amounting to 6.36 million new Taiwan dollars, or approximately 165,000 US dollars. If this were an insurance fraud case, then everything would start to make sense. As a result, Jia Fu became the primary suspect. It was also discovered that Jia Fu had recently married Liu Mo, a woman from Fujian, China. After the incident, Liu Mo bought a one-way ticket back to Fujian to attend a family funeral. However, the police found her behavior suspicious. Liu Mo, 22 years old, is described as attractive and comes from a well-off family. Both of her parents have stable jobs. In contrast, Jia Fu's family background is more modest. His father passed away suddenly over 15 years ago, his mother has no official job, and Jia Fu himself lives with his younger sister. In February 2012, Liu Mo met Jia Fu, and after dating for a while, she found him to be honest, a non-smoker, non-drinker, and very kind toward her. She decided to marry him just a few months later. Although Liu Mo's family did not demand a dowry, Jia Fu voluntarily gave 260,000 new Taiwan dollars as a gesture, which deeply touched her. However, their happiness did not last, and things began to change. After the marriage, Jia Fu became very stingy and hardly gave Liu Mo anything, not even a wedding ring, which she had to buy herself. On October 30th, 2012, Liu Mo arrived in Taiwan from Fujian but did not find her brother-in-law at home. Surprised, she asked her husband about it, but he insisted that his sister had gone missing. He described Ting, saying, "She's not a good person, has bad friends, and is always using drugs and drinking." Liu Mo later met with her mother-in-law, but she did not mention anything about her daughter's whereabouts. Liu Mo recalled that both her husband and mother-in-law seemed unusually indifferent to Ting's safety. Furthermore, they often had secretive, incomprehensible conversations. When Liu Mo asked what they were talking about, they would brush it off, saying it was nothing. Liu Mo also noticed other strange occurrences in the house. She discovered that Ting's room often had a foul smell, which she couldn't explain. When she asked her husband if the room needed cleaning, he became angry and harshly scolded her. Jia Fu claimed it was the smell of oil smoke coming from outside the window. Liu Mo kept quiet and refrained from mentioning the cleaning again. This incident made her fearful of her husband, and she no longer dared to disobey him. The more time she spent with him, the more unsettling traits she discovered in her husband. When he was in mainland China, Jia Fu was very calm and considerate. But once he returned to Taiwan, he became a completely different person. He became aggressive, insulting, and even threatened Liu Mo over minor domestic disagreements. He bluntly told Liu Mo, "I bought you, and everything about you belongs to me." 2 months later, on February 26, 2013, Liu Mo hurriedly returned to China and never came back to Taiwan. During the investigation, the police contacted Liu Mo, who was in China, to ask why she had returned at that time. Liu Mo replied, "My aunt passed away, so I had to go back to my hometown to attend the funeral." As for the discovery of Ting's head in Shuishang Township, Jiayi County, she claimed, "I had no idea about that. I only knew she had been missing for a while." Later, Liu Mo confessed the truth to the local police in Fujian. "I accidentally saw a frozen head in my husband's refrigerator, but I didn't know whose it was. Fearing for my safety, I hurried back to China right after that." She also mentioned, "When I first came to Taiwan, Jia Fu suggested buying insurance for me, but due to issues with my residence permit, we couldn't proceed. Every time I think about it, I feel incredibly scared." It was known that Jia Fu worked as a chef at a self-service restaurant in the Sanyuan district of New Taipei City. The restaurant owner stated that Jia Fu had worked there for several years, was hardworking, and rarely took time off. However, on March 12th and 13th, he suddenly requested time off, citing the need to do a thorough cleaning of his house. He also borrowed a pair of rubber gloves and a kitchen knife from the restaurant. 2 days later, on March 14th, he returned to work but did not return the knife. The restaurant owner found this odd but thought little of it, assuming the knife was not valuable. After examining Jia Fu's mobile phone location records, the police discovered that his phone had pinged in Shuishang Township, Jiayi County, on March 13th, where the head had been found. Upon reviewing surveillance footage, the police saw that at 4 a.m. on March 13th, Jia Fu was carrying 3 large black trash bags as he left his house in Sanyuan, New Taipei. By 5 a.m., he was at New Taipei train station, wearing a black jacket, a wig, sunglasses, and a mask. The black trash bags had turned into a single white plastic bag. At 10:46 a.m., he took a bus to Jiayi County, carrying the white plastic bag, and appeared on a street in Shuishang Township. He walked along the main road towards a public restroom near the Mushang Tianguan Temple. 10 minutes later, he returned without the white plastic bag. The police believe that Jia Fu deliberately disguised himself and went to Shuishang Township to dispose of the body, but he continuously denied it. Even when the police presented a photo of the head and asked him to identify whether it belonged to his sister Ting, he refused to answer, citing that it was too painful. The police speculate that the black trash bags shown in the surveillance footage may have contained the remaining parts of Ting's body, and Jia Fu's house was likely the primary crime scene. They believe there are still many other pieces of evidence left at his home. After obtaining a search warrant, the police immediately raided Jia Fu's home. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. The main entrance led to a hallway, and turning left would take you to Jia Fu's master bedroom. The kitchen and bathroom were on one side of the hallway, with the living room on the other side. Next to the living room was the second bedroom, which had previously been occupied by Ting. In the grout between the bathroom tiles and the closet in Ting's bedroom, the police found blood samples. Additionally, DNA samples, suspected to be human, were found on the handle of a knife and a rice cooker in the kitchen. Laboratory tests confirmed that the blood and DNA samples matched the victim, Ting. Forensic handwriting experts also discovered that the letters and notes found at the scene were written by Jia Fu. Although the handwriting appeared to be copied, certain letters showed the same unique writing habits found in his personal notebook. What was strange, however, was that, aside from the head, the police had not found the rest of Ting's body. A neighbor living below Jia Fu reported seeing a large amount of minced meat leaking from the drain in his apartment. This led police to suspect that Jia Fu had dismembered his sister, ground her body, and flushed it down the drain. The authorities even checked the septic tank, but, due to the time that had passed, found no useful evidence. At 3:48 a.m. on March 18th, the police arrested Jia Fu on suspicion of murder. He was dressed in camouflage, wearing a helmet, and limped as he was escorted by officers. He was later transferred to Shuishang Police Station in Jiayi County for further investigation. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Jia Fu finally confessed to killing his sister. However, when asked why he did it, he claimed, "Aliens told me to do it. It wasn't my own intention." Jia Fu, 38 years old, was born in 1975 in New Taipei City and was the third child in his family. He had an older sister and brother, as well as a younger sister and brother. After finishing middle school, he became a chef. A few years before the incident, Jiafu changed jobs frequently due to unstable work conditions, and he never married or had children until February 2012, when he was introduced to a woman from Fujian named Liu Mo. They met and got married. To outsiders, Jiafu appeared to be a quiet, sincere man with few friends who rarely went out. His co-workers and bosses spoke highly of him. However, some neighbors found his behavior and mannerisms odd. He would often sit motionless on his motorcycle, and when he saw acquaintances, he would smile awkwardly, making others feel uncomfortable. Beneath this seemingly dull exterior, Jiafu had another side to him. He was an extreme fan. This type of fan engages in stalking, surveillance, and taking covert photos to gather personal information about celebrities, often taking pride in doing so. When police searched his belongings, they found a notebook filled with lewd love letters to his idol, mostly directed at actress Jeannie Chuo. He also sent her these love letters along with nude photos of himself, calling her his wife and threatening to prevent her from filming kissing scenes with anyone else. There was even an instance where Jiafu sent a stack of used toilet paper covered in his semen to the actress. For Jiafu, these perverse actions caused him no shame. He even expressed his excitement to the police, his face revealing a disturbing sense of pleasure. In early 2011, Jiafu began purchasing life insurance for his sister Ting, with him and their mother as the beneficiaries. However, due to his inability to pay the premiums, one of the policies was eventually canceled. The police suspected that he might have had a fraudulent motive, possibly intending to claim the insurance money through murder. However, Jiafu denied this, stating, "I only have a mortgage of 300,000 new Taiwan dollars, about 9,500 USD, and a monthly income of 40,000 new Taiwan dollars, about 1,300 USD, so I'm not financially pressured. The insurance was simply a way to further protect my family." Investigations revealed that by December 2011, Jiafu had begun planning to obtain a mental disorder certification. His older brother was on psychiatric medication, and his sister Ting also had mental health issues, so Jiafu used his family's history as an excuse to purchase such medications. In March 2012, he was granted a certificate for moderate mental disorder. To avoid attracting the attention of neighbors, Jiafu started bringing black trash bags into the house in batches, presumably in preparation for dismembering the body. On the night of December 9th, 2012, when the weather turned colder, their mother went to visit their older brother's home in Keelung after a trip back to the countryside. It was that very night that Jiafu took action. He was awakened by numerous phone calls and overheard his sister arranging dates and engaging in prostitution with multiple men. Out of anger and frustration, he decided to kill his sister. Afterward, he applied salt to her head to preserve it and prevent decomposition, storing the rest of her body in her room until 3 months later, when he finally disposed of it between March 12th and 13th, 2013. Furthermore, he wrapped a pair of his sister's underwear, which had traces of another man's semen on it, around her head to mislead the police into thinking that the murder had been committed in a different way. However, after 2 days of leaving the head in the bathroom without any action from authorities, Jiafu began to worry. What if the cleaning staff found the bag and threw it away? If the police couldn't confirm that Ting was dead, he would have to wait 7 years until she was officially declared missing, before a death certificate could be issued. He couldn't wait that long. He wanted to collect the insurance money as soon as possible. To ensure someone discovered the body sooner, on March 15th, he anonymously sent a letter to the San Yuan police station. 6 months after the incident, in June 2013, the case went to trial at the Jiayi County Court. The trial began, and Jiafu was charged with murder and fraud. During the proceedings, Jiafu suddenly changed his testimony and claimed his innocence. Throughout the trial, he repeatedly acted insane, claiming, "Aliens implanted a chip in my brain, and they are using lasers to track me." Due to his erratic behavior, he was sent to the National Taiwan University Hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. The results showed that Jiafu's mental state was completely normal with no signs of abnormalities. After the trial, the Jiayi County Court issued a first-instance verdict. Jiafu was found guilty of murder and sentenced to death. The defense lawyer was dissatisfied with the verdict and appealed. In March 2015, during the appeal, the judges considered Jia Fu's filial piety toward his mother and the fact that his mother had taken care of the victim, Ting, for many years. She had lost her daughter, and if Jia Fu were sentenced to death, it would mean losing another child. As a result, the appellate court reduced the sentence to life imprisonment. This decision caused public outrage, with many people openly criticizing how a seemingly filial son could use such a brutal method to kill his own sister in order to fraudulently collect insurance money. However, the case ended with the judge's decision. Later, rumors began to spread about a ghostly woman and a public restroom at the Muxiang Tianguan Temple. According to legend, people reported hearing a woman's mournful crying at night in the public restroom, and some even claimed to have seen a woman in a white dress wandering there. There were many different versions of the legend, all steeped in supernatural and mysterious elements. As a result, the restroom was eventually demolished and rebuilt, and the ghostly tales faded away. A family that seemed normal was shattered by a tragic and heartbreaking outcome, especially as the perpetrator turned out to be the brother who shared the same blood. In many cases, criminals have used their mental health status to justify their crimes. Do you think this should be considered a mitigating factor when determining their sentence? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.